Welcome back to Mountain Connections. It's hard to believe that the Sundance Film Festival was almost 2 months ago. We are still reflecting fondly on many of the great films that premiered here during that festival. And right now we're going to focus on a film called Something in the Dirt. We have editor Michael Felker joining us today virtually. Michael, thanks for being here. How are you?
Good. How are you doing?
Doing well. I'm very much looking forward to talking to you about this. But before we focus on your role in this particular film, tell me more about Something in the Dirt and the plot and just kind of the general idea of it.
Yeah, absolutely. The movie Something in the Dirt is about two neighbors who just meet at this apartment building and bond over this weird anomaly that they find in one of their closets that they can't really quite explain. And instead of, going through the proper channels of reporting it or anything, they decided to do a documentary that they shoot that is incredibly unwieldy. And as they film more of the closet and what's going on inside there, they find that it bleeds into the filmmaking, and it's a really out of this world type of movie.
Would you categorize it as supernatural, sci-fi, a combination of those elements, or none of those?
It's kind of all of the above. What's crazy about the movie is that as they try to pull more and more theories about what's in the closet, they realize that they can't quite get an answer that makes sense to them. So when they are actually figuring out these little things that could be like, it could be a ghost, or it could be aliens, or it could be another dimension, they start to realize that it's all of the above, and they really don't know, and they have to really, really dig deep in the different places in their minds and the internet and whatever to figure out what the answers are.
Well, it's so exciting having it premiere at the Sundance Film Festival. Congratulations. How did audiences respond to it? What type of feedback have you received, and what's happening with this film since the festival?
It's been kind of all over the place, to be honest, because it defies expectations. What's really crazy is that people go in thinking like they know what type of movies this is. Like, anyone who's a sci-fi nerd, just like me, thinks they know, like, all right, this has like a answer that's rooted in all this different types of science and what it could be. But then the movie throws all these different answers at you that are well beyond, I guess, really hard to comprehend. And it makes you think about what is being told to you as the truth. And that's really like what the meat of the movie is like, are you actually seeing what's really in that closet? Are you actually seeing what they're filming, or is it being manipulated and you really have no idea, which is kind of throws people for a loop. So the audience reaction has been wildly all over the place, which is a good reason, which is like a good thing for us. So.
You're editor on this film, and I think most people have an idea of what that means, but in reality, I'm sure we have no idea exactly what that entails. So what is something that may surprise people about what you did, your role in this film, and the editing process?
Well, it's weird because, there's a docu-narrative format to the movie, which means it's kind of plays out like you're watching them film it as if it was real. So as an editor, we're not just executing on what was written for the script, we're actually just trying to play with like, what other ideas and ways can we, tell this story as if we're seeing it for real as a documentary. So during the editing process, while we're forming the movie and stitching it together, we found that there's like all these different avenues we can pull. Like, we're pulling out all these assets that are being tied into interviews with people that help build the narrative. And as you see, the documentary kind of gets in the way of the story as the story goes on and on. And so it's a really unique movie that I've never quite worked on. It's not like me reading a script and then, stitching together the shots they shot from the production. It was a lot more of a collaborative process with me and the filmmakers in trying to make something wholly unique and out there.
You've worked on many different films in a variety of roles, in fact. How was this project different or the same, or how did it kind of compare to other things that you've done?
Well, I think the biggest thing that was different in this one was that it was shot and edited during the pandemic, and everyone took the proper protocols for COVID production and whatnot. but it was the fact that we were all separated. You know, when I was working on the last movie I worked with these filmmakers, Synchronic, we were all in New Orleans working on the movie together with the actors, Anthony Mackie and Jamie Dornan and everyone. Like, it was a very collaborative process back then. But when you're in the pandemic making a movie, you all have to work from your isolation at home and really have to lean more on each other as we branch out to the different parts of the world, trying to figure out how to make a movie still, even when we can't be in the same room.
And what's next for Something in the Dirt? Do you know yet, or what do you hope will happen with this film?
I hope that more of the audiences see what's out there. Like, I think it's still building a word of mouth, which is great. Like, we you know, movie as a home, thankfully, with XYZ with your distribution on it, and I can't say too much about where it's going to be officially landing, where everyone could see it, but I think you'll hear more and more about it as it goes through different places where it will screen secretly or like at other festivals over the course of the year.
And Michael, I'm curious, what first got you into editing and into the film industry in general? Was this something you always hoped you would do?
Oh yeah, ever since I was a kid. I think the big thing that I think when I was a kid and I first saw The Matrix, which is like a movie that I saw when I was way too young, that movie blew my mind, and I was still like not sure what I wanted to do for a career or anything. I was like 10 at the time. But when I saw that movie, not only did I want to like work in film, I wanted to know like how they were able to pull off such a landmark movie like that. And I think what got me into editing specifically was that there's like a magic in the editing room that comes to making movies. Like, movies are, you know, all these different elements of collaboration, but editing is like one of the few things that is unique to filmmaking. And there's something magical being in the editing room that I love. So that's what drove me to editing.
And Michael, where can we get more information about you and follow along with this film so that more and more audiences can see it?
Oh man, that's a good question. I would say, yeah, I mean, follow me or the filmmakers, Justin Benson and Aaron Moorhead, on different social medias, because we talk about the movie pretty candidly and when it comes out, and we're very engaging with the audience who do find the movie and want to know more about it. So you'll find out more as it goes on, probably later in the year for sure, when it starts to wind up the marketing for it. But yeah, follow us on social media.
Well, Michael Felker, editor of Something in the Dirt, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been a pleasure speaking with you, hearing about everything you've done with this film. We'll be back with more right after this.